Hello Indycar fans and welcome back subscribers to Formula Punt Racer, the channel where car racing and comedy collide. I'm sure you probably are aware that I'm a little behind on the latest Indycar rounds that took place in Florida and California. I'm not going to mention much about the non-points race that occurred in between these two rounds. That was a non-points race and basically the so-called $1 million prize at the Thermal Club in Palm Springs, California is hardly worthy of mention. And if you ask me, it's an embarrassing fiasco in every way imaginable, and controversial is just an understatement about this. Although, spoiler alert, Alex Palou won that, but the only amount of prize money he got for this so-called $1 million prize was actually just $500,000. Boom! I suppose it's a good thing that I hadn't got on with my review of St. Pete and Long Beach just yet until now, because there's some interesting things that occurred sometime after St. Pete and right before Long Beach, and here's how it all started. When the green flag flew, it was pole sitter Joseph Newgarden, last year's Indy 500 winner, driving for Team Penske, who took the lead. Felix Rosenqvist of Sweden, with his first year at Meyershank Racing, started second. Already a few corners in the first lap, trouble would occur for Rahal Letterman Lanigan driver Christian Lundgaard of Denmark, when the Spanish Alex Palou of Chip Ganassi bullhorned his rear end, causing Christian Lundgaard's rear tire to go flat and limping back to the pits, costing him severely in the race. Marcus Armstrong unfortunately ended up in the tire barrier when he was too fast entering the corner. Braked real hard, but it was of no use, and he ended his race on lap 27. As for the other Marcus Ericsson of Sweden, driving for Andretti Global for the first time. He was also the defending winner of the race. Unfortunately, his Swedish race went sourish when his engine went out on lap 53. Pretty unfortunate for last year's winner, and for this year being the 20th running for IndyCar's racing in the streets of St. Pete.
Aww.
An interesting fact before this race started was that David Malukas, who was supposed to drive the number 6 Arrow McLaren Chevy, unfortunately suffered a bicycling accident before the racing season started and broke his wrist. Sounds pretty similar to what happened to Lance Stroll last year. The difference, though, of course, is that unlike Lance Stroll, Malukas probably suffered harder, which means he was not cleared to drive. So former Juncos Hollinger racing driver Callum Ilott of Cambridge, England, would fill in to be teammates alongside Pato O'Ward and Alexander Rossi. As a result of this yellow that Marcus Armstrong caused, this would be somewhat a good break for the Danish butter cookie Christian Lundgaard. He stayed out while all the other leaders went into pit. Felix Rosenqvist barely beat Colton Herta out of the pits, followed by Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, and Scott McLaughlin. The race restarted on lap 30 with Christian Lundgaard as the leader, and Felix Rosenqvist was second, and Colton Herta third. Joseph Newgarden was fourth, and he would eventually get around Herta for third, but by lap 34, things would go wrong for AJ Foyt driver Stingray Robb as his car went off course because the right front brake was fried, courtesy of some debris getting caught up in the rotors. That would end his race, and with Pray.com being a sponsor, he didn't have a prayer with this round. This brought out the caution flag for the second time, and Christian Lundgaard peeled off into the pits since he was off sequence. Joseph Newgarden would retake the lead, a lead he would not relinquish. Around the same time of this caution, American rookie driver Colin Brown at Dale Coyne Racing was showing he had a burning desire to race in Indy cars. No harm done there. A few laps later, after the race restarted, he almost ended up in the same situation as Marcus Armstrong in the same spot. Fortunately, the young rookie was able to keep the car untouched from the wall, which meant no money coming out of Dale Coyne's pocket for damage expenses, thank goodness.
Thank God.
The third and final caution period of the race occurred on lap 69 when Romain Grosjean rear-ended Swedish rookie driver Linus Lundqvist of Chip Ganassi Racing, sending his car gearbox first into the tire barrier in the same spot which claimed his teammate earlier in the race, Marcus Armstrong. Despite his rear wing being damaged and his car stalled, Lundqvist's car was mechanically okay. The track safety crew restarted it so Linus could drive back to the pits so his crew could replace the rear wing and send him on his way. Unfortunately, Linus finished 3 laps down and Romain Grosjean was issued a drive-through penalty when the race restarted. 9 laps later, the Frenchman would be out of his misery when his car's transmission gave out. When the checkered flag finally flew, it was Joseph Newgarden of Team Penske taking the win. Patricio Ward of Arrow McLaren was the meat in a Penske sandwich by finishing second. Joseph Newgarden's teammate Scott McLaughlin would finish third. Once again, a sweet situation for Joseph Newgarden, but for those of you IndyCar fans who are sick and tired of Team Penske's dominance, just like me, it was a pie in the face for us anti-Penske fans. Joseph Newgarden may have taken the win in St. Petersburg, however, with the results being unofficial, there was a problem in his car, as well as his teammates, that would deem his win provisional, and eventually, I'll explain more after this, as this technical infringement was discovered the morning of the Long Beach Grand Prix, which occurred back on April 21st. And not only that, Callum Ilott has been replaced in the number 6 Arrow McLaren Chevy by last year's FIA Formula 2 champion, Théo Pourchaire of France. This is a lifelong dream for this French rookie to race in Indy cars, and he would start the race in 22nd. The 49th running of the Long Beach Grand Prix began with Meyershank Racing starting on pole for the first time with Felix Rosenqvist at the wheel. Will Power of Team Penske started second, and already on the first corner of the first lap, Will Power would snatch the lead over from Felix and would lead on until the first caution on lap 15 when Danish butter cookie rookie Christian Rasmussen of Ed Carpenter Racing spun out and unfortunately tangled with Jack-in-the-Box Harvey of Dale Coyne in the process. Christian was out, but Jack had the last laugh as he wasn't. However, Jack was not happy that his Jack-in-the-Box of lucky surprises was a bust. A few of the drivers would pit under this caution period, one of which, Christian Lundgaard, unfortunately was unsafely released from his pit box and slightly tapped into last year's Long Beach winner Kyle Kirkwood of Andretti Global. No damage to either car, but unfortunately because of this unsafe release, Lundgaard had to endure a 5-position penalty, meaning he had to yield to 5 cars at the drop of the green flag restart. And Will Power also pit, so when the race restarted, it would be his teammate Joseph Newgarden leading the charge. Scott Dixon would take the lead over from Newgarden on lap 37 to put on a dominant performance, but Newgarden would not let him get away that easy. Nevertheless, Scott Dixon would lead the most laps of the Long Beach Grand Prix, as this race would be one where fuel-saving strategy played a crucial role in the final results. Scott Dixon had some help from the lapped drivers of Nolan Siegel, Santino Ferrucci, and his own teammate Kiffin Simpson. Slipstreaming behind them helped him save fuel, as with 10 laps left, Dixon's fuel tank was getting low. With 9 laps to go, Colton Herta accidentally rear-ended Joseph Newgarden at the hairpin, causing Newgarden's chances to catch up to Dixon to evaporate as Herta and Palou slid on by. When the checkered flag finally flew, it was Scott Dixon, the Iceman of the PNC Bank Honda, taking his second Long Beach victory since 2015. Congratulations, Scott Dixon, for taking this to the bank and to cash it. Colton Herta of Andretti Global finished second. Alex Palou of Chip Ganassi finished third. Newgarden was a little bummed about finishing fourth, but he had a nice chat with Colton about the little incident that occurred at the hairpin, and no ill will, and surprisingly no penalty for either Herta or Newgarden in regards to this little tap at the hairpin. In any case, now this brings me to my next point about what I said about the provisional results of St. Petersburg, because Joseph Newgarden may have won the race initially, with Pato O'Ward second and Scott McLaughlin third, but surprisingly, oh boy, you're going to be in for a big surprise, anti-Penske fans, because for those who don't know yet, it turns out that Joseph Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin were disqualified from their positions and had been stripped of their titles and had each been fined $25,000 for this. So for Roger Penske, who runs these series, the team became a victim of their own rules. I know! Isn't that amazing, anti-Penske fans? Like that Penske's been disqualified from their own game? You're probably wondering, how did this happen? Well, it turns out that Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden used their push-to-pass buttons illegally during the final restart of that race in St. Petersburg. Now, push to pass is kind of like gives a car a boost of energy to go even faster a bit. Kind of like how illegal street racers push that NOS button to give their car like a shoot off like a rocket, like at unnatural speeds or unnatural thrust, like kind of like that. Of course, it doesn't always work, and each car is like issued a few about 150 seconds or 200 of push to pass each race, and some drivers use it, some don't. Why some don't, I don't know. And you have to use it wisely. You don't want to use it too soon, or those who have it will react to it and you'll suffer. But the regulations stated that the push to passes were used illegally by Newgarden and McLaughlin in the they pushed it too soon at the restart when they were supposed to do it after, and why, like, the stats and the telemetry showed that, and that's why this was only discovered the morning of the Long Beach Grand Prix, that nobody knew about this until then, or was not publicly announced. And so I didn't know about this until after the Long Beach GP had passed. So isn't it amazing to see that basically Penske is now winless this year thus far? This means that Joseph Newgarden's win is taken away, and Patricia Ward of Mexico celebrates belatedly his first Indycar win of the season after being winless for over a year. Congratulations, Pato Ward, for giving all your Mexican fans something exciting to talk about. To answer your questions on where the two Marcuses finished in this race, Marcus Armstrong finished 12th, and Marcus Ericsson finished 5th. And as for the French rookie Theo Pourchaire, he had a phenomenal race, and he will be maintained by Arrow McLaren to race for the Barber Motorsports Park race this Sunday, April 28th, which I will elaborate a moment later. He started 22nd and finished 11th. Not a bad performance, Theo. Magnifique. Good luck in Barber Motorsports Park. And it is unfortunate, though, that the only other bone I have to pick with the IndyCar season this year, aside from that embarrassing $1 million thermal challenge, is the fact that while attendance for the Long Beach Grand Prix was exciting and phenomenal as usual, like high attendance, the TV ratings, not so much. In fact, it was worse than the Chinese Grand Prix, which was the same day, as well as the NASCAR race at Talladega. And why? Because, for some reason, someone decided to have the race covered on the USA channel instead of NBC. And that was idiotic. NBC stands for no brain cells in this case, so that was just really, really stupid. With Pato O'Ward being crowned as the St. Petersburg winner, Colton Herta finishes 3rd, and Will Power finishes 2nd. Also, with Colton Herta finishing 2nd behind Scott Dixon, he is now 2 points behind Scott Dixon in the championship. Now that's amazing, and Alex Palou isn't that far behind either, with a 3rd place finish at Long Beach. The next round is this Sunday, April 28th, at Barber Motorsports Park. It will also be the first race for European Le Mans Series driver Luca Giotto of Italy, who will take over the number 51 car of Dale Coyne Racing. So, mamma mia, this ought to be exciting, an Italian in Indy cars for a long time. Can he be as successful as his compatriot Alex Zanardi? Only time will tell. But in any case, let's enjoy the orange celebration of O'Ward and Dixon with some of this and this. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like my videos, please like, share, comment, subscribe to Formula Pun Racer, where you don't have to be a racing fan to get a good laugh. I'll see you in the next video. Congratulations, O'Ward and Scott Dixon, for your respective victories. I am Aaron Cylinder, firing on all cylinders.